Good evening. Trust you're doing well this 25th day of April 2023. I'm kind of losing track on the month, but trust you're doing well. Let's take a look at our top stories tonight. Interior Cabinet Secretary KUTV Kindiki orders security operation in Shakahola village as death toll rises to 90. Kenya Kwanza and Azimio suspend bipartisan talks after failing to agree on the inclusion of Adan Canaan and David Kosing. Fast rescue team from Sudan just into the country as rescue operation continues. And as the world marks World Malaria Day, statistics show approximately 3.5 million people in Kenya are at a risk of being infected with malaria every year. Welcome to the broadcast. RUTH CHEPKOECH is a sign language interpreter tonight. My name is Anne Odida, and today we are talking about campus leadership, that is varsity leadership. We have KUSO President Anthony Manyara in studio tonight. Look out for that particular discussion. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, 17 more bodies have been exhumed and 34 rescued alive in Shakahola village, Malindi sub-county, raising the total number of bodies exhumed to 90. Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor KUTV Kindiki has condemned the incident where controversial Pastor Mackenzie allegedly manipulated his followers to starve to death in order to meet Jesus. The CS has promised that those involved will face the law.
The number of exhumed bodies in Shakahola continues to rise, adding to 89 so far as the process to dig out more graves continues. Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor KUTV Kindiki has called out those who caused loss of lives disguising behind the scripture, adding that the government will investigate the matter to identify those involved and subject them to justice.
That somebody hiding behind scripture and the Bible has caused us this kind of damage. We are following a number of leads, and I want to assure the people of Kenya and the world that we will do whatever it takes to get to the bottom of this matter and establish the truth.
The CS who was speaking in Shakahola urged that happenings such as those witnessed in Shakahola go against the Kenyan law and promised that the government will arrest and arraign anyone involved.
This is a clear example of misuse of the fundamental right to the freedom of worship and of religion, which is guaranteed by the Constitution of our country and the laws of our country.
Pastor Paul Mackenzie is believed to have been carrying out occult activity in Malindi sub-county, Kilifi County. However, Mackenzie claims that he closed down his church back in 2019 and has no association with the Shakahola massacre.
Napenda kuwatangazia watazamaji wote na haswa katika nchi ya Kenya na hata mataifa mengine watakaoona habari hizi ya kwamba nilifunga ministry kama mnavyoona kutoka 2019 August. Na leo kirasmi mbele ya vyombo vya habari ninasema kwa heri, bye bye. Sitafungua tena ministry.
President William Ruto called for the prosecution of Pastor Paul Mackenzie, saying that he hid behind religious beliefs, when in fact he is a terrible criminal who used religion to spread weird and unacceptable ideologies.
People who are masquerading as religious people, yet what they do is contrary to the teachings and to the beliefs of religion, whether they are Christians, Muslim, or indeed any other religion. Terrorists use religion to advance their heinous acts. People like Mr. Mackenzie are using religion to do exactly the same thing.
Several leaders have criticized the Shakahola incident, calling on the people of Kenya to avoid being misled in the name of faith. The 800-acre land has been sealed off and declared as a crime site. RUTH Wanjiru for KUTV.
Still on that, Kilifi North Member of Parliament Owen Baya has today sponsored a motion in the National Assembly on the Shakahola cult scandal. Due to the activities that have so far led to the death of 90 people, members of the National Assembly have proposed formulation of laws to regulate religious institutions, as Elid Muturi reports.
Members of Parliament have criticized the Shakahola cult scandal through a motion tabled in the National Assembly by Kilifi North Member of Parliament Owen Baya.
There is need for the government to enact laws and policies that prohibit and discourage unlawful practices that are not in line with conventional religious teachings and beliefs of a community in order to uphold the security of citizens. Honorable Speaker, it is for this reason that I seek leave for the adjournment of the House in order to deliberate on the matters so as to chart the way forward.
Baya's motion, however, faced criticism from Kilifi Women Representative Gertrude Mbeyu, who blames him for not forwarding the motion earlier, despite being in Parliament since 2017.
Leo analeta hii hoja tuzungumze hapa, watu wetu wamekufa. Watu wamezikwa kwa makaburi pale juu wanafukuliwa. Mheshimiwa Owen hajachukua hatua ya kwenda Shakahola kuona nini kunaendelea kule. Nasikia aibu sana akileta hoja ndani ya bunge, watu wanafukuliwa kule, hajakanyaga kule kama kiongozi wa serikali iliyo mamlakani. Mheshimiwa Speaker.
A section of leaders led by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, on the other hand, disputed pointing of accusations and politicization of the matter.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is a very sensitive matter, and it's a matter that touches on the deaths of very many innocent lives. And it's actually about time that we discuss these things soberly without blame games.
And you know, when I listened to the Honorable Mbeyu ask where was the deputy leader of minority who is from a neighboring constituency, I wondered, you are the women rep. I would dare ask you, where were you? At least the deputy leader of minority has brought a motion for us to discuss and come up possibly with laws, and we must not make this a talk show.
Members of Parliament now propose the formulation of laws to regulate religious institutions and the need for self-regulation within the religious sector.
Every day in and out. One time in the 12th Parliament, a honorable member came to this Parliament with a law that was supposed to regulate religion, and every member of Parliament shied away from that particular law and allowed the matter to die a natural death. The truth is that the happening in Kilifi has now made even the religious leaders themselves. Yesterday I saw them address the state, and they said that they also think that there's need or some form of regulation to actually control which type of religion, beliefs, and practices that are coming up in this particular country. And this could be the correct chance for Parliament and those of us who can proceed to make a law so that we have some form of regulation on the religions that are upcoming.
The leaders also strongly condemned the government for allegedly delaying in unearthing the cult scandal in Shakahola, with others calling for the resignation of area chiefs and other security heads. The MPs have spoken on the matter after the clergy and Christian leaders condemned cult activities, even as the Catholic Church leaders yesterday called for a review of the Religious Society's rules of 2015. Mutweri Eliud, KUTV.
Now, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition and Kenya Kwanza's bipartisan team on Tuesday suspended their dialogue that was to commence today over a stalemate. In a statement issued by Rarieda Member of Parliament Otiende Amolo, Azimio has indicated that it had failed to reach a consensus with Kenya Kwanza on the removal of Eldas Member of Parliament Adan Kainan and Pokot South Member of Parliament David Kosing from the talks.
Responding to the National Assembly Minority Leader Pio Wandai, the Registrar of Political Parties in Kenya Nderitu, in a letter dated 25th April, has clarified that the Office of the Registrar has not in any way received or has in possession any official record of any coalition agreement that involves Kenya Union Party, Jubilee Party, and Kenya Kwanza Coalition. The Registrar of Political Parties letters, however, shattered by partisan talk stream, as Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leaders led by Rarieda Member of Parliament Otiende Amolo and Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna Through their statement today, have declared that the bipartisan talks have been suspended until Jubilee Party Member of Parliament Adan Kenan is withdrawn from the talks. The leaders say that the Registrar of Political Parties letter has affirmed their earlier claims where they objected the involvement of Adan Kenan in the bipartisan talks, arguing that the Kenan's party Jubilee is in a coalition agreement with the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, therefore making him a member of the coalition. In a bipartisan inaugural meeting held by both Azimio la Umoja One Kenya and Kenya Kwanza team last week, the leaders however failed to come to an agreement concerning the inclusion of Wajir West Member of Parliament Adan Kenan of Jubilee Party and South Pokot Member of Parliament David Kosin in the bipartisan talks. The leaders, however, resolved the matter to be determined by the respective party and coalition leaders. James Murekemanda, KUTV.
Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua has announced that neighboring countries, including South Sudan, Ethiopia, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, have granted permission for Kenyan planes to overfly their airspaces to evacuate stranded Kenyans in Sudan. 19 students and 20 foreigners have landed in the country as the government continues to evacuate more Kenyan citizens from Sudan.
As war intensifies in Sudan, Kenya has joined other countries to evacuate its citizens. The first group of Kenyan evacuees from Sudan landed in the country's main airport on Monday. 19 Kenyan students and 20 other foreigners arrived yesterday from Sudan aboard a military plane. The Kenyan rescue operation is being conducted in coordination with the Kenya Air Force, an activity being conducted in 3 active evacuation programs. Most of the stranded Kenyans are students in Khartoum. In the second program, a Kenya Air Force aircraft is due to airlift another group of 18 students who are currently traveling by road to the South Sudan border. Under the third plane, the evacuees are expected to fly from Port Sudan to Jeddah in 2 aircrafts and thereafter travel to Nairobi via Kenya Airways. It is estimated that tens of thousands of people, including Sudanese citizens and those from neighboring countries, have fled because of the unrest. The government has already identified 3,000 Kenyans in Sudan and is urging those in need of evacuation to register their names, locations, and passport numbers on emergency hotlines so that necessary arrangements can be made. Salma Swaleh, KUTV.
Moving on, Kenyans will continue to endure high electricity costs unless there is a reduction in the high cost of fuel, removal of unreasonable taxes, and fluctuations in the local currency against the dollar. This is according to Thika Power Limited and Ibera Africa chairperson George Njenga, who appeared before the Senate Energy Committee.
While appearing before the Energy Committee, Thika Power Limited and IBA Africa CEO George Njenga told the committee that thermal plants run by independent power producers depend on high fuel oils, which are expensive to purchase. According to Njenga, the high fuel prices are passed to Kenya Power as part of contracts signed between the IPPs and the utility firm, with the same eventually being passed to the customers in terms of electricity bills. Additionally, Mr. Njenga said the thermal plants are important as they ensure baseload and grid firmness as well as meet demands during peak times. However, Njenga has cited other problems affecting the cost of electricity, and I quote, "Fuel is where the problem is. If we deal with this, then we will lower the cost of electricity as the alternative of going without electricity is even more expensive." End of quote. On the issue on power purchase agreement with Kenya Power for the 2 plants that expires in March 2034, Njenga defended the long-term contract, saying they are that long in order to spread the cost as such plants are million-dollar investments. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha has announced a changed approach to malaria control measures, terming it a paradigm shift based on preventive and promotion mechanisms. The shift will see the government, development partners, and communities embrace innovation, investment, and implement strategies in dealing with the tropical disease. This as the world marks World Malaria Day.
Malaria is a preventable and curable disease. Nearly half of the world's population is at risk of infection. In 2008, countries around the world started marking the World Malaria Day on the 25th of April in efforts to raise awareness about the impact of the disease and efforts made to prevent its spread. The Health Ministry Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumincha, who was speaking at Ekerenyo in Nyamira County while marking the World Malaria Day, has announced a changed approach to malaria control, which according to her is a paradigm shift geared towards preventative and promotional mechanisms.
All right, we will be bringing you that story later on. We're taking a very short break at this point, so stay with us.
So once we do the balancing during the layering. So once we put the animal manure layer, we again repeat the process of wetting with the microorganisms. We add the eggshells and a little bit of wood ash, and then now we go to the green matter section. The green waste is not just only crops, but we also look for indigenous plants that have high nutrient value. So we also incorporate that in the green matter layer. And once we do that layer, we also again water with the microorganisms, the eggshells, the wood ash, and the layer continues until we reach the height that we desire. After that, we cover just to increase the temperatures.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT, and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one, one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
To the Church O'Clock Show. I'm your host, Esther Becky.
And my name is DJ Tero.
We start you off with a word of prayer and get you started with a live transformational worship experience. And have our minds renewed by the word of God on the word segment.
And not forgetting new music za hii wiki, yani ndakuwa bado nawapatia pale wasanii wamekuwa kiwakali. So make sure manzo tune in because zitakuwa zina flow pia pale mixes kwa wingi, yani zitakuwa zina come through, and pia performance yani from our gospel artist hapa on Gospel Art
from 7 to
10 a.m. only on KUTV.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
People pass kufuku. People pass ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni Duniani Leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
All right, welcome back to KUTV Primetime News. Tonight in studio, like I had said earlier, I am joined by the KUSO president, that is Kenya University Students Association President Anthony Manyari. We want to talk about the state of varsity leadership and the state of the situation in varsities currently. Welcome to this discussion. Karibu sana Manyara to KUTV.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you here with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Okay, so let's just start. Let's hit the nail on the head. So what are you doing right now for the students or the university students in Kenya right now?
Well, we can say there are a plethora of issues which we focus on. Apart from representation, of course, we also fight for the rights of students. We also participate in national politics, trying to shape the country in terms of democracy issues, equality, human rights. Well, it's a whole spectrum of issues which university students find themselves being interested in, not just representation. But all I can say is that KUSO generally is the umbrella body representing more than 6.5 million students in the country. Whether you are taking a PhD, whether you're taking a master's, whether you are doing an undergraduate course, you all belong to KUSO. And also, I think you have not really highlighted, I'm also the president of East African Students Union.
Oh yeah, perfect.
which of course represents all the university students, not actually university students, but students belonging to higher institutions. Because, for instance, in Kenya, we not only have universities, we have TVETs, we have polytechnics, we have colleges, all these institutions, now in 7 countries, from Uganda, Tanzania, South Sudan, Burundi, Rwanda, and Congo. Of course, not to forget Kenya. So I can just say I'm in shoes which we really make decisions on how university students generally can be able to participate in many issues, opportunities, also seeing how their voices can be heard, also seeing how they can be able to be mainstreamed in national politics in their respective countries. So many issues.
All right. Are you talking about national politics? Why have you chosen to fight for the rights of university students in opposition and not directly in the current government?
Well, I may not say I want to fight for students in opposition, but I would like to say that as KUSO, we welcome a political narrative, or rather a political side, which supports our ideologies, a political side which works with us, which provides mentorship, which is ready to listen. We can be able to get solutions for the problems that we have in our universities. Take, for instance, the way we have issues to do with help. If I was in government right now, I would be telling students, the money that you are expecting to come, please wait for 6 months. This is the stand of government. They have to negotiate. They have to budget for it in the next financial year. That kind of language. But students find themselves in opposition because in any society there are issues to do with hunger, issues to do with how people are being treated, issues to do with cost of living. And sometimes students find themselves in a part whereby they fight for the oppressed, the hoi polloi, the have-nots, people who have nothing. So that's where I find myself. I may want to see university students part and parcel of the government, implementing the manifesto of the government, those kind of things. But then again, we ask ourselves, on whose side would you want to be? The side of the oppressor, the side of the oppressed? And then again, also, I am a leader. I have done issues to do with political science. I have done architecture as a course. In fact, I'm pursuing law. I can tell you as a matter of fact, there is no any society which is perfect. There is no any government which is perfect. So sometimes, even if people perceive that I'm championing issues in opposition, remember, KUSO is bipartisan. KUSO is non-partisan. It is impartial. So I have to work with the opposition. I also have to work with the government. But the opposition makes more noise. The opposition is felt in a greater manner more than the government. Remember, when you're employed in government, you cannot make noise again. Take, for instance, right now you're in KUTV as a serious anchor. Oh, by the way, I'm a big fan of your shows.
Thank you.
I'll tell you as a matter of fact, if you're an activist in the university, in KU, and then you are very noisy, you're up and down, you're active. When you get employed by KUTV, which is a small segment of KU, you will no longer make noise. You'll just sit down, get your salary, do your work, go home. Correct? Same case with government. We are seen to be more vocal because we're in this other side. But in this sense, I'm working with both government agencies, government institutions to make things work in the university. Like last week, I was in a meeting with the CS education. I was in a meeting with the PS education. We had stakeholders, CEOs like HELB, Ringera. We had the University's Fund Board, Mr. Monari. We had KUCCPS, Dr. Wahome. All these people belong to government. Now, if Manyara was not really serving students belonging to government, or rather supporting UDA, why would I be in a meeting with appointees of the government? What I'm simply saying is, the students I represent, they belong to different parties. As a president, I need to be impartial. I need to use an eye whereby I don't see where you support. We want to see how you get your service. Yeah.
All right. I would really love to get a video of you speaking in Ufungamano. What is it? Ufungamano House. Director, can we have it?
If this government is to blame for very many problems that students are facing today. Jambo la kwanza ukiangalia mambo ya HELB. Last week but one we had Kabianga University demonstrating. We had very many universities that have demonstrated sababu ya mambo ya HELB. Mimi baba nataka kukuomba sahi ututengee hata kama ni Friday tuendelee na maandamano yetu as university students.
That's you, right? Yeah, so you said government is to blame for the challenges that students are facing right now. But has it responded yet since you said?
I remember very well when Raila announced their demonstrations. Just 1 week after, I also announced that we'll be having our own demonstrations every Friday for university students. Remember, the position I sit at is not of my own creation. These are students who have elected me. These are people who have problems. Now, if I sit back, very many students are dying of suicide, depression, a whole myriad of issues. As we sit here in KU, there's a place we call KM.
KM.
Right? If you go to the University of Nairobi, there's a place we call Klabu. These students, if you come out here at KM, chapati goes for, I think, around 30 shillings right now. If you go to Klabu, it's around 20 shillings. When I was chairman University of Nairobi, SONU, now called UNSA, University of Nairobi Student Association, chapati was costing in Klabu 10 bob.
I'm being told that chapati is actually 10 shillings in KM.
KM?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying Klabu. Okay. You know now, me, I'm basically very much in tandem with university students there at University of Nairobi because that's where I study. But I can tell you, chapati right now is 20 bob. Now, in any mess, in any institution, there should be subsidies. They should be able to tone down the prices. Chapati in a university in a mess should cost like 5 shillings. If you are buying ugali, you know, messes zile za pale University of Nairobi. When I was chairman, with 20 shillings, ulikuwa unakula unashiba, including madondo, you know, all these things. They were available in the menu, from dengu, you know, those things. But what I can say is, when I made that speech, which you have seen right now, I had a choice. I've gone, you know, sometimes we try diplomatic ways of solving a dispute. Remember, nowadays, you have not seen students on the streets, pale, anniversary towers, throwing stones. There was an era whereby vehicles were being broken, glasses, you know, that kind of aggression. But my leadership is different. First of all, you ask yourself, you have this problem. let us try to solve, just like the way the National Assembly does when MPs have delayed salaries. Unatafuta the stakeholders, including CS for Treasury, all these stakeholders. You sit down with them, you ask them, where is this money? This is not money to put in my pocket as Manyara. They tell you it's not here, it's there. Now there's a time, I won't mention who, we sat down in a very comprehensive meeting with serious stakeholders, and they told me, you are looking for 5.7 billion to pay continuing students. But this money is not available because MPs, they protested and said their salaries have delayed. They even went to Mombasa to protest, those kind of things. No, actually it was not salaries. It was CDF kit. I remember very well. Now I asked them, okay, so now students here, they are frying rats, they are hunting birds, they are living in a scenario whereby they skip meals. In the university there's a term which people say kuinama. Mwesikia jina?
I have, but I don't know what it means.
Really?
Yeah.
Unajua wewe unakaa kama comrade. Sasa shangaa unajua kuinama ni nini? It's whereby
I am not a comrade.
So whereby I'm okay, fine. It's whereby you skip a meal. Yani unainama hivi, njaa inapita. You understand? And sometimes they do it even twice. Lunch, dinner. Nataka tu ufanye sample siku moja wanafunzi wakikuja. Especially wale wenye waishi hapa ndani shule. Unajua kwa shule, sometimes they can afford meals within the institution. But I think meals in the institution are even more expensive than outside. Some of them. But the way I know KU at the moment. But I can tell you as a matter of fact, ask them. Unakulanga mara ngapi kwa siku? Do you know what breakfast is? Have you ever gone through a word called brunch? When we combine breakfast with lunch. Unaelewa? There's real pressure. So, in university there are very many things which are really oppressing a normal student. Not just hunger. Mambo na mapenzi. The other day I was just making a joke and saying this government is to blame even for the rise of gonorrhea in Nairobi. You know why I said that? It's very simple. In our universities, especially when I was president for the University of Nairobi, I was the one responsible, talking to the CS Health. We would ensure there is inadequate supply of condoms in our hostels. Now, unajua mtu sasa anaweza nisikia aone kama anaongea vitu za ujinga. But there is an increase in HIV, the spread of HIV in our institutions. People may not know. But look at the statistics. Sometimes people ignore and say, Manyara ameenda kuongea mambo ya condom, is encouraging people to have sex. It happens. Kwanza wale wenye wanafanya course hizi zenye hazina classes mingi na sitaki kutaja ni courses gani, but mimi najua mahali comrades wako kuna mtu anafanya class moja peke yake in a week. Haya, hakuna wifi kwa hostel, right? You're asking yourself, what is the mode of entertainment? Hawezi toka kama una kakitu. Now if you have food, unakula vizuri, unakaa hostel pale, utashinda umelala the whole day. Labda uko na girlfriend ama quote unquote girlfriend, especially kama vibes zako ziko sawa.
Okay.
Tell me, what is the frequency of people involving themselves in sexual intercourse in the university?
All right, Manyara, whose responsibility it is to provide such facilities?
Ministry of Health. The government takes an initiative of reducing the spread of these diseases. And not just HIV. There are also STDs involved. And sometimes these diseases, they also affect students when they realize they're infected or they have problems. Because also health as a segment also can affect the way you study. Not just education issues we focus on. Focus on everything that revolves the welfare of a student. Are you getting stress from whom? Is your dean of students listening to you? Can your dean of students get you off depression? Actually, it even resonates. Na huyu pastor mwenye tumeona huko kutoka Kilifi. Although that is off kuso issues. But I can tell you as a matter of fact, if you die of depression as a comrade, it is yourself to blame. You're an idiot, in fact. Because you have a whole spectrum. A zillion of options to look at. You can maybe look for issues to do with faith. You can talk to someone like me. I can tell you there's a way out, there's this and that. You're very young. Maybe let's say you are 25. You're looking at a whole of 75 years ahead. If you eat well, take care of yourself, why would you be depressed? Because your parents have fought. Maybe because of a girlfriend. So you can just cut off. You look for another one. You know, there are all very many solutions.
All right. Yes. Now, you've said that this is the first time that the government has neglected students. Those are your words. So I presume this is in line with the delayed distribution of HELB funds. How has it changed as compared to the previous regime?
Well, it has changed because I personally have never seen such a delay. But last week, you know, sometimes I told you something. When I did that speech at Fungamano, after a few hours, I was summoned in the Ministry of Education. We had a meeting, and they had to tell me as to why money has delayed. They said that when there was COVID-19, some classes were pushed forward. They were pushed forward. That is why there was inconsistencies in graduations. So it ended up having one class having like 3 or 4 streams of students who are combined, so that there is some certain kind of pressure. You cannot, continuing students are not the same as it was before. So I told them, but then this should be able to be a priority to the government. If, for instance, if you're setting aside money to buy vehicles, money for hospitality in State House, you know, money for these MPs, these are very small amount of money students are asking for. And these are children who are brought up. Some of them come from very poor backgrounds, you know. So that was the whole scenario, but I'm just still hopeful. We are still fighting on. We are using the kind of means, you know, the kind of fighting we wanted to have is now toning down because there are those, quote unquote, the atmosphere of bipartisan talks. Now, what does that leave us? If Ruto right now and Raila, they shook hands, I know bipartisan issues are even. Now, wanafunzi, I'll still call for demonstration. That's why people don't differentiate. Me, so if I see there's a problem with government, I go to Raila. If everything is okay in government, we see how we can be able to be part and parcel of building this nation. So people don't really get it. Yes.
We have a very concerned comrade right here who has sent in a question, and he's asking, don't forget to ask Manyara why hasn't HELB money been disbursed by the government yet?
Well, I'm also surprised. And I'm just as, I'm also asking the government the same question. Why are you not disbursing that money? It's not much. So I would like really to tell students out there using this platform, we have always fought. We are still fighting. Just yesterday, I was talking to PS for University Education, Dr. Inyangala, and he said it is a priority for the government at the moment to ensure that money is released. Continuing students, they are very broke. I'm very sure they're very broke. First applicants, whatever Lilipo. That time we had a very good, fruitful discussions with the ministry, and more than 2 billion, around 2.7 billion was released for students.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Manyara, you have been on your seat for 6 terms now. I presume I'm right?
No, I really would like to clarify. You know, people really spread a lot of propaganda. This is my 5th term.
Okay.
As the KUSO president. I served in SONU for 1 term. I'm turning 29 years. I graduated in 2019, first degree in architectural studies. But sometimes, you know, ni siasa tu. Unapata watu saying that, oh, this is
you have overstayed your time, your term. That is what we are getting here right now. I'm very concerned that comrade is saying Manyara has really overstayed in his term.
Okay. Yes. It's for sure. You know, I'm not the one who sets the rules. This was a constitution. Every time I want to exit, they pull me back. They say that you're the only person who is capable of handling our issues. Remember, when someone is elected into office, you need time, transition issues to catch up. To know minister so and so. Do you know how long you can take to get an appointment with a CS? Kama ujulikani, uje useme wewe ni kuso chair, and you are new. It's a new face. I know this government, the greatest problem, not just this government, even institutions. Those students know there's something we call bureaucracy. You write a letter now, before it reaches the end, before it acted upon, it's a whole rigorous process, which sometimes you might get tired along the way. So just to wrap it all, I'd like to say I'm in office legally. People really don't ask why. When a president in Kenya serves for 5 years, people say, you have served for a very short time. We need to add you another 5. Now in East African Students Union, which my term started in 2021, I'm supposed to serve for 4 years. Renewable. And this is 2023, right? Now, if you go to All Africa Students Union, the term is also 4 years. So if, for instance, right now, you question, kuso we elect every year in fact. Mimi nataka kutoka, watu wasema hapana chairman, kuja, si tunataka kuona kwa ballot tu. And they just vote for me.
All right, yes. Now as we wind up, somebody's asking campus politics. What's the way forward? Comrades needs help, money. What's your message to the government of the day as we wind up?
Now you see, you cannot pickpocket a naked man, right? Students right now, they have very many problems. I am willing to sit down with serious key people in government. And this is something we are still working on. We want to see a scenario in which students are also part and parcel of providing solutions for the key problems that we have in the country. So yes, indeed, we will be able to look for ways to work with the government, especially when our issues are well much addressed. University students have been in opposition since 1963. It's not the first time. I've always seen students really being on the other side of checking the government, this and that, But I feel we're gonna make a U-turn. We'll be able to see how best we can be able to participate, just like the way we are seeing. Sio watu wanakaa huko wanafanya kazi na serikali wanatuangalia wanaona wale ndio opposition. Na kama shinda zote ziko. Students in 1990s were fighting for multi-party democracy. Students were fighting for inequalities. Now what if we in a society whereby these issues have been addressed? Let's say Raila has successfully been able to negotiate for issues. For instance, electoral reforms, maybe cost of living, there is a whole committee formed from opposition and government. The issues of the opposition are addressed. Where does that leave us? We are not willing really to stay on the cold trying to fight for people. We will be able to join the same government,
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so should comrades look forward to better days ahead?
Well, this is just a secret I can give you. There's a party we are working on. Just like the way someone said I've overstayed in Kuso. I'm almost exiting, actually. I'm starting my own party. But that party is not my own creation. We are doing it as serious key student leaders, former, current, and even some future. They are influential leaders. Take right now in the universities, there is something we call the Duale Bill. There's a bill which really affected how university students are being elected. Now, these are the kind of issues we want our party to address. Remember, I've done more than 13 petitions in the National Assembly. I have even petitioned to the Education Committee of the National Assembly, actually bicameral house, both the lower house and the upper house. All of them have been thwarted. They have been killed at utero. We try, then some people sponsor, inhibiting the whole process.
Who are these people sponsoring and inhibiting this process? So
some
we can have
people, some serious key people.
Country
tell me 13 petitions really. 13 petitions. Sometimes nasemanga maybe that is why the government really doesn't support youth issues. Josie, if you look at National Youth Council, si waliachisha elections because they don't want young people to get those platforms. But who will speak for those young people?
Is that right? Are they really fighting students?
That brings me now to the issue of me forming a party. There's a party we are coming up with.
Right,
We wouldn't want really to say the name because
Why?
we'll also open up a can of worms. People somewhere
But
will
this
be
is a
able to
national
conspire.
television and you have to be speaking facts live on air.
Yes. We don't want things, just like they have said, we don't want things to be killed at utero.
All right, so we are allowed to say that those
But
are
what I can
your
say
own
is,
opinions and not of
you know,
the
there is a
national
student leader
television.
here who was in KU. Last elections, he was elected as an MCA somewhere. If you look at the University of Nairobi, Parklands, there's a student leader who was there. He was a chair of that Parklands campus. He was elected an MCA. Now, who brought that motion to National Assembly and it was passed? Me. He went there and said, you really do not need to have a degree for you to qualify to vie for an elective position. And it was passed. What we want in this kind of party is university students, instead of being used by politicians, using and dumping, because that is what is happening. You come, we give you a ticket for free. You vie for any position you want. You get that position, you serve your people. Isikuwe kuna mtu fulani anakosa kupata kiti because you didn't afford maybe 15,000, 20,000, 50,000 given by these other parties. This is the same party will be able to question people. You were elected. Have you been able to achieve your manifesto? Were you honest to people? Have you fulfilled all the promises that you made to the people? Such kind of issues.
All right, thank you so much, Anthony Manyara, for making time for us tonight. Glad to have you here. We honor your presence right here. All right. That is KUSO President Anthony Manyara, as well as the East African Student Union President with us. That brings us to the end of this discussion tonight. I guess we are now being directed to continue with the rest of our coverage. Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's 4-day visit to Botswana has concluded today. The DP was in Botswana to represent President William Ruto in the Forbes 30 and 30 Africa Summit. Gachagua has extended his deepest gratitude to the organizers and the great team behind the Forbes 30 and 30 Africa Summit for accepting Kenya's request to host the 3rd edition of the prestigious event later this year.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua ended his 4-day official visit to Botswana on Tuesday after a flurry of activities and bilateral engagements, culminating in Kenya being granted the opportunity to host the 3rd Forbes 30 and the 30 Africa Summit later this year. This was a day after he took part as a panelist at the 2nd edition of the prestigious summit, which recognizes top 30 entrepreneurs under 30 years, organized by the US-based Forbes magazine. In the first day of his visit, DP Gachagua met with more than 250 Kenyans who live in Botswana and asked them to invest back in Kenya, promising them that President William Ruto administration will address the challenges they are facing. Gachagua wrapped it up with a visit to State House, where he engaged in bilateral talks with President Masisi.
So luckily, I have an appointment with the President of this great republic on Monday morning, and I'll be able to put up a very strong case to remind him to remember the journey, that capacity they have developed was as a result of Kenyans, and therefore they cannot just abandon us.
The Forbes team accepted Kenya's bid to host the summit, owing the country's renowned credentials as a leading entrepreneurship hub in Africa. Forbes 30 and 30 officials are set to visit Kenya soon for detailed engagements with the government on modalities of hosting the summit. Salma Swaleh, KUTV.
All right, let's now take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. The Kenya Secondary Schools Term 1 games kicked off today at the Hill School and Nova Academy in Eldoret. Organizers of this year's games expressed their delight at the full resumption of the championships after the games were suspended in 2019 due to the COVID-19 pandemic and only resumed partially in July and August last year. Athletics, basketball, hockey, handball, rugby and swimming are among the sports to be played. In an earlier basketball match up, Western Giants Friends School Kamusinga lost to Dagoretti High School 55-68 in an exacting encounter. The games will conclude on 30th April. All right, the Football Kenya Federation FKF Premier League midweek action kicked off at the Kasarani Annex Stadium, where Sofapaka lost to relegation zone Wazito FC by 3-2. Sofapaka now sit 12th on the log with 28 points, while Wazito are 17th with 19 points. In the other encounter in the same venue, Kariobangi Sharks beat Mathare United 2-1 to keep the Slum Boys rooted at 16th place with 22 points, having played 26 matches. FKF continues tomorrow with the title race heating up between Gor Mahia and Tusker FC. And finally, LeBron James starred with 22 points as the Los Angeles Lakers beat the Memphis Grizzlies 117-111 in the Western Conference playoffs at the Crypto Arena. James' all-round effort exemplified the Lakers team game when Davis finished with 12 points, 11 rebounds and 4 blocks, while Austin Rivers scored 23 points. The Lakers can seal victory and eliminate the Grizzlies in Game 5 scheduled for tomorrow. It is the first time a Lakers player has reached 20 or more points and rebounds in a single playoff game since Shaquille O'Neal in 2004. All right, that brings us to the end of our bulletin tonight. Many thanks indeed for choosing to stay with KUTV Primetime News. Be sure to stay tuned for subsequent bulletins. Tomorrow you'll be joined by Dennis Omondi for Mizizi ya Habari and Joseph Kess for Primetime News. My name is Ann Odida. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Ruth CHEPKOECH. We meet again next week, inshallah. God bless you and good night.